thank you all so much for coming onto Renegade Ventures today. I'm excited to have you all here because I know a little bit about your story and I love it. I know your family and I love your family. So welcome, Maggie, Colleen.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
all for
much.
being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Happy
absolutely.
to be here.
So our tradition has been to start our stories sometimes back to high school, but we're going to try something new. I really want to get to the meat of what I think Renegade Ventures is about, which is about women who take leaps, who take a jump into business or out of business or through business. So I really want to start with the origin story about how this business was birthed.
So mostly the origin starts, I was a graduate student at Rhode Island School of Design studying to be a landscape architect. I was obsessed with plants and had already done that in undergrad, wanted to pursue it and receive my graduate degree. So moved up to Providence and started my journey there at school. But a lot of that took a major turn when I took a seminar class called Design for Development, which really brought together artists and designers to come up with solutions with really challenging systemic issues within communities. So through that class, I got the opportunity to travel to India, and that's when all of this really took a turn. And I met our now partner, well, our first partner, NGO in India, in Kolkata, but found myself through this and through an introduction of my professor in the middle of a red light district where they provided a safe haven for children of sex workers. And there's lots of intricate details along the way, but essentially from those early conversations, we learned that there was lack of programming for the women, and they wanted to provide an economic alternative or just something else for the women in the sex trade to do. So we got our creative juices going, and
When you say we, do you mean both of you?
so at this
No.
point, it was just other
Came
classmates
later.
of mine.
Oh, okay. So it was like a school thing.
It was like very much project. So this was just for school projects. But we, at that time, I think what we came back and started with some just early ideas and an initial business plan, which is very much in air quotes. But I think what I really took away from that experience is not only connecting with women in need, but also learning that my creativity and passion for design could do something positive for other people, and it was never as directly made until that moment. And I just was hooked and like felt like we needed to take it beyond the classroom and continue to return to India until I graduated and then moved back home. And then that's kind of when Maggie, well, a little bit before that, but started to work her way into it.
So we're sisters, and I always idolized Colleen and followed her to University of Kentucky for undergrad. So I started studying architecture and was watching her at RISD and really impressed with what she was doing. I was like, whoa, India, that's cool. I want to go. And so when she moved home a little bit before, like wanted to do their first fundraiser up at RISD. And so they had this little like event and with your professors and students, and I went up for my spring break and hung out with her and helped out. And when we were both home from school around the same time, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to be my intern?" And I was like, "Sure." 15 years later, here we are.
You're
still
no longer
interning.
the
Yeah,
intern.
no, I know, right? But yeah, I mean, it was a similar experience for me that, I had a passion for design, for creativity, but I didn't know how to marry that with my desire to make an impact in the world. And so she had this really amazing project, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to help out. And then really, I think we're blessed in the fact that we can use our right and left brains equally. And so we're both analytical, but also creative. And so I think it was a great challenge for both of us and a fun thing to do in your 20s. And then we just stuck with it.
Well, it's interesting that you studied architecture, landscape architecture, and architecture, because that is the marrying of logic and creative.
Exactly.
I studied art. There's no logic. There's no logic at all. So I love that idea of how that prepared you for entrepreneurship, is because you do need both. You need that passion. So I want to go back to something you said about you had a business plan and then you were like air quotes, but the reality is every single first business plan is in air quotes.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, I think sometimes when people think about writing a business plan, it's sort of like, is it right or wrong? You know, is this business plan going to do what it's going to say it's going to do? And almost every initial business plan ends up completely different in reality when that happens. So you originally, when you were working on this as a school project, how much of you was like, oh no, this is going to happen. I got to stay with this.
I'm very stubborn, I think, and like I want
Let me
to
fact check. True?
Competitive and stubborn.
Yes.
Okay.
So once I am committed to something, I want to see it through. And I think deep down, I always knew that it could be more than a project, and just felt so connected to the work and the people that I had met in India and wanted to continue to pursue that. Now, mind you, I was like interviewing to be a landscape architect and thought this would still be my side project.
Oh, right. Just
on the side.
Just helping these sex workers in India as a side project.
Yes. So
I love it.
It's very much like a student mentality. Like I will do all the things. But yeah, then it definitely grew beyond that. It took
some time.
It took a couple years to
Because
really
it was
feel
our part-time.
serious. Yeah.
You know, it was a part-time thing for both of us.
And we were both
3
living
years.
at home with mom and dad for a long time.
So how does it start small in India? Like, tell us what it looked like small.
That's like 8 artisans. You know, you're working with a really small group of people, so that when you're getting a shipment from India once every
quilts.
6 months, no, not quite 6 months, but every few months, and it's 20 pieces.
Yeah.
You know.
I just realized that we have not talked at all about your product.
Oh,
So I know, but let's bring the listener in to understand what you taught these sex. What is the product they're working on?
So originally we sold notebooks and note cards at an art fair and raised $400. So that was the seed funding. So it's very, very humble beginnings and just a lot of sweat equity. But the artisans, initially we hired local people to train them to quilt using a traditional technique called kantha, where it's just a one running stitch and holding together 6 layers of saris, so vintage saris, which is the local dress. And it is a traditional technique there and traditional product. And we just saw a lot of richness in that, and then also learned that they could do this from home and gave them a lot more flexibility as opposed to like going to a work
Security,
situation
safety,
and like safety,
ease.
like especially
kids
like
can be there.
kids,
yeah, like, and then family often doesn't let them leave the house. So there's a lot of benefit to why we selected that product. But yeah, and then it kind of unfolded from there. So from a quilt, we then made a scarf and partnered with actress America Ferrera on a launch pretty early on. And then Maggie came to India and we thought we were going to do a lot of other product, but it took us a while.
It took us a long time. So now we offer a wide range of products, from home goods to accessories to apparel. So, you know, we can outfit you in pretty much anything from the moment you wake up till you go to bed. But like Colleen mentioned, developing our product and the confidence in the artisans took time. I think we went over many times hoping we could advance further than their skills were ready to. And I think that's the beauty of Anchal, is that we were patient with the women and we sold what they could make at the time. We tried to be as creative as we could to market what they could make. And then, you know, the moment that they could get zippers in with a pouch, it was like a massive celebration. So now at this point, they can handle anything. So our designs have gotten more complicated and complex and intricate and really beautiful. And you can definitely tell our products apart anywhere you go. If you see them in a shop, you can, you know, it's Anchal.
You're modeling one beautifully.
I sure am.
Right now, Maggie. It looks really great.
Thank you.
I have several of the products and love them and give them as gifts frequently. In fact,
Thank you.
I have my favorite nap blanket.
Oh,
Is one of your quilts, and it is the softest.
Yeah.
It is the sweetest, perfect weight.
Yeah.
So if you are a napper out there, y'all,
Yeah.
go get yourself a little nap blanket. It is amazing, amazing stuff.
So Anchal, it's a Hindi word, but it means shelter and protection. It's also the edge of the sari. That's the most decorative, but often women will wrap their babies around in it. But it is comfort. So the quilt, how you described it, is ultimately our goal.
It's absolutely beautiful. I treasure it. So in a business development plan, you know, as you grew, I see first you talk about how you had to kind of slow down and let the artist develop and figure out what was going to work and what was not going to work. And what was the next big milestone? You got the zippers going, started getting more skills.
Yeah.
What was maybe the next big milestone for you all?
So we were in vintage upcycled material for a while. And then we were
4 years.
4 or 5. Yeah, it was a while. And the product line developed, but then we kind of hit a point where we were looking at our advisors, looking at our board, and, you know, they were encouraging us to really, how do you set yourself apart? Because we're not the only ones who make upcycled vintage pieces. They're you can find them in a lot of different places. But we started designing our own collection in 2016 was our first major one where we started sourcing organic cotton, custom dyeing it to our specific color request, and then using a technique of patchworking to kind of create these like really contemporary, gorgeous pieces that are like very luxurious. And while honoring the tradition of kantha work, so we kept that same layering technique. So we spend a lot of money on our materials with these pieces. But in 2016 was when we started really, I would say, evolving as a company and diversifying our product.
And a big reason for that, too, is people wanted to reach out to wholesale with us, but didn't want to buy all one-of-a-kind products, which is all the vintage pieces are truly one-of-a-kind because they're not, you know, the same. So by doing that collection, we traveled to New York for our first trade show, and that was a really big game changer, but also very risky and scary at the time.
Yeah, because you partnering with museums and like, I
So
mean, you
now,
really started to score some really high level luxury brands to be connected with.
We've got some great partners. We've worked with Anthropology and West Elm and Bloomingdale's, and we've done custom collaborations with the Guggenheim Museum and Brooklyn Inn, and it's been a pretty great, I would say. There are a lot of supportive, amazing companies out there, which we've been very grateful to connect with them via these trade shows. And I think getting our brand out of the Louisville community and on a national platform really changed the game for us.
What advice would you give to someone who's looking to put together an advisory board for their business?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I think start small. I think for me, I talk to a lot of people in the beginning, and they can, like, it's different to have a coffee with someone and get some good feedback in the moment. It's another to, like, really align with someone with, like, consistent feedback. As a board member and advisory role, I think the more the merrier in some ways, but then who you keep close in your tight circle, I think you really got to trust them, because it's hard when you're first starting. I had the inclination of like wanting to please everyone, but also take every word very seriously and digest that too much to where I felt very conflicted. So like you really have to pay attention to your heart,
Tune into
and
your
then
own,
kind of,
especially with the two of you guys get together and tune
well,
in.
I think it's, you know, being women and also being young. I think
that was hard.
The assumption was everyone else knows
More.
or has a secret that I don't understand.
But that was
that
the
is
biggest thing that the takeaway is like
Huge.
after going to a networking
No one
event,
knows what
I'm
they're
like,
doing.
no one knows what they're doing and everybody's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And everyone loves to give advice.
Yes.
Everyone, if you
oh,
ask
they're
anyone
full
Without
of it.
for an
any
opinion,
expertise.
advice,
Yeah.
they will tell you. I mean, I just came from I went to the National Speakers Association event, and I would, go to these seminars, and you would hear experts talk, and, scribbling furiously, like a genius. And I literally would hear opposing advice from one seminar to the next seminar. And someone, hit me there that, everyone's going to have an opinion, but you have to do it the way that matters to you. There may have been people who said, you need to talk to Target.
Right.
Or, you need to talk to Walmart. And you guys were like, there we go.
Yes, totally.
And I think that's the other thing too is, trusting that your business the most. And there might be great advice, but they don't know it your day-to-day
heart
looks
is
like or
and-
where your heart lies. And that is a hard thing to do, to stay true to yourself and kind of block out the noise and find a
I think
way
with
to
social media too, and then as soon as you start comparing yourself to other businesses, it's very challenging. So we made, we were really, we had to kind of help each other out through moments of like, no, let's not look at
Which I would say
that.
we're also really lucky in the fact that we have each other, because a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they're on their own. And especially in this like artisan textile and, we have a lot of business owner friends who are in this world. We see them at trade shows and they are always very envious of us because they're like, wow, you guys have each other. So we are aware how lucky
Implicit
it is.
trust.
Yeah.
I work with my husband, and so it is that feeling of even if I don't notice something, he'll notice something, or if I'm not in the office, or someone to bounce ideas off of. So what advice do you have for someone who's thinking of going into business with a partner or a family member? What advice would you have?
Family, we've definitely had
We love each other very
our highs and lows and some
Holding
therapy
hands. For
hours
those
along the
listening, they're holding
way.
hands now.
I think it just gives space to walk away and to have balance, because I think when your partner so well, it can be difficult and you're anticipating where things are going to go. And I think
Of course she said that.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think when we found, we're also very close socially. Like, we're not just business partners. We're like best friends and we do everything together. And when we finally both got married, I think that was when we started having a little bit more balance
separate.
in life.
Separate
yeah.
people.
Oh yeah. We'll dress the same. We have the same hair.
That was the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think, but there is so much joy, like the things that we've been able to experience together and fight through the really hard times, but also the huge celebrations and wins. Like, I would not have wanted to do this with anyone else.
No, it's an extremely special experience.
So it's worth it.
I also think you get to know each other better because you see each other outside of just being siblings. You get to see each other at work and go, wow, you're really good at that. Like, that's what I experienced with my
And then you
husband.
can really pump each other up in that way too.
Yeah.
Because
And
we
also-
balance each other out very well.
Yes. How do you deal with your roles? How do you define your roles in the because I think that's important. I don't know if that's been important to you all. But how do
It
you
was
do that?
it was very loose in the beginning, and that was
I think that was
difficult.
harder. Yeah.
So yes, the sooner you can define and like identify your strengths and weaknesses and like kind of play into your strengths. And it doesn't have to be, I think what we learned too, it doesn't have to be like a traditional description. So like, your title is COO, but like that's not, if you look that up online, that's not what she does. So we made up our own job descriptions.
Which I think was a challenge when you're in your early 20s and you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I would say learning what our strengths were a big part of the journey. And so I think discovering each other's talents was something that took time. And I think giving each other space to be really great at something or stronger at, we talk about it all the time that Colleen is significantly better at networking than I am. And there are, situations where she likes, connecting with people, and I get
I do
a
see
little
you
shy.
more out in the community.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I bump into each other more.
I know. Yeah.
Maggie, okay?
No, I don't know.
Let her out, Colleen. Let her out.
Yeah, so it's fun to kind of discover the differences between us and yeah, like you said, championing each other.
So tell us right now where you are in the size of the business. Originally, you said you started with, I think you said
like
8
8 women,
workers.
yeah.
And tell us how the business looks different now.
It's dramatically different.
Yeah.
Last year we hit $1 million in revenue, so that felt like a big celebration.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
you.
That was a
Thank
big
you.
one.
That's a lot of stitches.
It was a lot of
I think
stitches.
we started doing the math of
It was a little
sums.
scary. You're like, can we stitch around the globe in 1 year?
So we work with now a full-time team of around 20 and our project staff. And then we've support like 180 artisans. Some are more full-time, some are more part-time. So again, the growth and impact has been giant. And we've had the privilege to go back many times to see that impact in real life. And then beyond that, we've had a lot of partnerships, and we have this amazing space. And
Yeah, we opened our first, our own storefront 2 years ago in Shelby Park, which is really fun. We've had an incredible team in Louisville. At our largest, we were at 8. Yeah, 8 of us, and we're at a really great 5 right now, which is cool. It's been, business owner staffing is one of the most challenging components that nobody talks about until you're in it, and you're like, woo, this is a challenge.
Yeah. Adding help feels it's help, but then it takes a minute to figure it out.
That was a big learning curve for us, but we're definitely in a great spot there, and being able to mentor and champion fellow young women in our own community is probably one of the greatest gifts this career has given us. It's an honor to be able to be there for other young women who are desiring to have a career.
We've had we're celebrating 7th anniversary, 5th anniversary, just kind of all of them really also started coming in and packing and fulfilling orders. That was most of the first. And then now they're e-commerce director and head of marketing. And so that feels really special.
That is special.
Yeah.
I'm sure there may be people who look at what you do and it's deeply inspiring. I mean, I just find it wonderful. I love your holiday parties and going to shop and all of that. And it's wonderful to imagine the impact you're making on the kids and the moms, the family.
Yeah.
But what is the reality of working globally like this? What is it like working with India and working with the government or working with the culture? So what are the challenges? As beautiful and awe-inspiring as it is, tell us a little bit about the hard work.
I think the biggest key component is we are not the face of on the ground. With our team in India, we work with amazing partnerships and leaders in the community who do the day-to-day work, and we're already plugged into the community. So that part is essential, and they really lead the way. I think is a big piece of that. But it's difficult. You talk just basic time zone difference and you share a tech pack and you need feedback, and then you have a buyer who wants something tomorrow and you got to commit. So just international business is challenging. We talk to them constantly. We're connected with our director at least once a week, phone, Skype. That's so dated. It started with Skype.
Yeah, that's why I say that. And so
Skype, everyone, was an early version of video calls.
So we have these video calls once a week. We kind of get updates. But basically, we have 2 seasons each year, 2 collections that we launch. So there's a lot of connectivity around product development, sampling, resampling, making sure we're getting everything correct. So that's a big part of the normal communication with them. And then a lot of it is, if they're having any difficulty sourcing materials or difficulty with staff, like Colleen said, we have a project management team of 25. And, they're all ladies. So we have mat leave here and, somebody's home with some sick kids there. And so kind of being able to pivot and be flexible with them is really important because, there's multiple layers within this business. It's not just the typical, I order this, I expect it at this time, at this price.
It's not a traditional factory kind of.
We are very involved in all the nitty-gritty details of the pricing and making sure everybody is very well respected throughout the process. And so it
makes it harder.
It makes it harder.
The process is long, our margins are small,
invested.
If you went a traditional manufacturing route, your prices would be lower, and you wouldn't be involved in these people's lives.
I mean, we talk about impact; it's amazing, but we also do a lot of investing in this community. We do big Women's Day celebrations. We do health benefits like eye camps and all sorts of really amazing educational workshops. And
so this is all in one community?
It is. Mm-hmm.
The same community you started with?
Mm-hmm. So,
not after the first trip, but after once our first partnership.
Yeah, since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any of the same workers?
Oh, yeah. Wow. They are celebrating 15 years alongside us, which is amazing. Yeah.
It's very cool.
And how often do you go back to India?
It used to be, I used to go back every year, but after the pandemic, obviously that slowed it down. And then we were there in 2023 last. So
Okay, but they're really doing a
there,
good job.
and
They're
that
great
was kind of the
stewards.
goal.
Yeah.
Like we didn't need to, the less hands we needed to like be involved in.
Yeah, and when we went after we had a lot of different strategies in place during the pandemic to keep everyone employed, and everybody kind of bucked up and got stronger. And so when we went back, we were like,
oh, they don't need
you
us.
don't need us.
That's great.
at all. It was really awesome. It was a great moment.
You know, you guys got into business so young. I mean, really, this has been your whole life. This is the business you've been doing. But is there a way you can reflect about how being business owners has shaped your mindset, the way you see the world? Like, is there kind of a before and after feeling of, wow, this has made me see things differently?
Yeah.
I think peeling back the curtain on a lot of things, I think I have a lot more grace for people and just different situations, knowing how much goes into everything, and especially products, what it takes to buy those pair of shoes or get anything. There's so many hands involved to bring that to your house or closet, and the benefit of what we get to do is making sure that all those people that touch it are treated with respect and dignity along the way. But that's more of the granular thing, I think.
So you can't really look at a shopping situation in that lens. Is always
no.
sort of,
I mean, I think
you
about where
walk
everything
through a store
is
and you're sort of like
from.
looking at it from that lens of like,
Yes.
oh, that was a really impossible thing to pull off. kind
Yeah,
of.
which it definitely, I mean, the blinders are off, which is a great thing, but it's also a challenge. And it makes it challenging when sometimes ignorance is wonderful. And that's not the case anymore, which is tough at times.
Do you know of any businesses that have spun off from what you've set up in that community? Are there other, like now that they understand and see and understand the market, what's happening there?
So we definitely have seen a lot of women take their skills and start their own businesses within their home. They'll like start by purchasing a sewing machine and start making clothes for neighbors, or they like opened up a dress shop. So there's like smaller little entrepreneurial moments happening there, which I don't even feel like we know all of the major stories there, but we have seen that a lot, which feels really special.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really proud of that. And also that's the end goal. We, for those who stay with us, we're really grateful that they stay with us, but ultimately we want to see them move on. And it's really great too when younger women come into the program, they're 20, 21, and they're with us and they're learning from all these other older women around them. And that sense of community just encourages them to like step out and try. And, you start to see, we're in second generation on some families. And so you're also seeing that rather than coming to work with us, they're extending their school studies into the next chapter, and or they work with us for a little bit and then they go back to school. So that ultimately is the greatest success story for Anchal.
So every business goes through ups and downs. And I know that for me, my downs were just really tough.
Yeah.
Like I had to feel like I had to dig dig to a place I've never been, to find a version of me. Have you had moments like that in your business where you're like, okay, I gotta bring something else?
Often.
Yeah.
I think we both go through phases of burnout that we try to Maggie does all of the designs, which, on top of a lot of other jobs on her title, within her title. So I think burnout for a designer is serious. So that has been a struggle. I know for you that you can speak more for yourself, but beyond that, I think, we've faced a lot of challenges. Obviously, the pandemic was a big one, with production fully halting for almost a year in India, but needing to fund them. So then we, in turn, picked up the needle on our end and made 10,000 masks within the local community of just like and friends.
Sold them,
sold them all.
Yeah.
So, and right now with the tariff situation, that feels like a big challenge.
Yeah, I think, again, circling back to the benefit of having a partner that you know so well, when you see them struggling, you see it coming, you see the burnout coming, and you can say, okay, how can I support you? And that's a really fun part about our job, is that we pretty much, especially since we've now, supported each other during maternity leave, we can do each other's job fully, which is an amazing thing, because you have somebody there to kind of
can't do all the things.
Okay, you're close.
Sure. I can't do a tech pack.
Okay, I'll take it. But I think, I lost my train of thought a little bit. That's okay.
But you guys have cross-trained and
And so when you start to see the other person struggle and know that there's that person who can catch you and be supportive, we allow ourselves to be kinder. And I think that's another thing we've learned later in running this organization, is to be so much kinder to yourself. Lower the expectation. I think there were years where we pushed so hard.
Yes.
And wanted to hit so many specific goals. And then we looked at each other, we're like, where is this coming from? And we're like, we're doing it to ourselves. And learning to take a step back and say, it's okay, I think was the greatest lesson. And that, I would say, has only happened within the last 4 years or so.
And
Did
we
really
rewrote
start to
the
be
year
kind?
for this year.
Yeah,
and it
we
feels
were
like in a much better place.
We were very specific and strategic this year with goals and the budget, and making sure that it gave us grace to be moms.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think as business owners, parents are not. I think that's such a powerful message you're sharing, which is to redesign your life a little bit, that and recharge, figuring out what's it going to take for me to come back to the table with vigor, because this I think our American culture teaches us, grind,
Totally.
get up at 4 a.m. and get your workout in, and then do your meditation, and then, and it's like
and
come
drink
on,
2 gallons of
it's like
water.
we're all exhausted trying to take care of ourselves, and sometimes taking care of yourself means you just unplug.
Yeah.
So from a creative standpoint, you're doing all the design. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
How do you recharge your design, your creative energy? For
I
those
would
of us in
say-
the creative world, how do you do it?
Yeah. Space. I needed space. This last time, I think, was the hardest I had. I just felt so fatigued. I have a very sweet, supportive husband who looks at me, is like, how can we get you inspired? What do you want to do? Like, our trips, if he makes sure that we go to a museum or something, just to give me something, because especially as a mom, you just get so in your day-to-day that you forget to inspire yourself. And so, what that can look like is all sorts of stuff, even just going to your local museum and just getting out of your house. And, I think I also had a very supportive business partner in the fact that she allowed me to kind of have a soft collection this past spring. You were encouraging of us taking a step back. It's like, what can we do? What are some things you can do that are low-hanging fruit? Let's just change up a couple things. Let's get some new colors here. And then it gave me over 6 months to have that pressure off, to where I came back in and I said, okay, I can dive back in. And as intimidated as I was by it, it happened pretty quick. So I would say space. Just let yourself have a break.
And also, you don't have, no one is holding you to this level of expectation besides yourself,
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we all do it to ourselves.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I love this idea of choose easy.
Yeah.
We had a similar situation in our business where we had been doing all this national project management when the pandemic hit, and all those national clients were like,
Yeah.
and I was like, what are we going to do? They just literally evaporated overnight.
Yeah.
All the work stopped. Millions of dollars worth of work just froze. And my team, honestly, I got to give them credit. When we came back online and things were starting to happen, they were like, maybe we don't do that anymore. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And they were like, it's harder.
Yeah.
Right.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's hard to find people who can actually execute it. The customers clearly have vagaries and will just wander away.
Yeah.
But if we just do the easier stuff that people need every day,
Yeah.
so we have kind of redesigned our business in the same way. And I love that message.
Yes.
Sometimes
It's
choose easy.
Yes.
And it doesn't always have to be
More.
more.
Yes.
What if
Grow,
it's less,
grow,
less,
grow.
less?
Yeah.
And it
That's pretty
feels
great.
better.
It
We're
feels
in a
good.
much better place.
'Cause we
and we're still
decided
supporting
The same
the same group
Your
of
mission
women.
has not changed. You're
And-
actually still, your core mission is still there.
Yeah. Because we decided to take this year off at trade shows, and I think that was a big,
Those are a grind.
those are a grind. Yeah. So it was really nice to take that pressure off and be home during specific times of the year. We're never home, and not have to be on the hamster wheel. And so it's freed us up to make more creative choices too when we're not feeling pressured all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you both parents now, and congratulations,
Thank you.
Colleen's
Thank you.
expecting her second. So between you, you have two girls.
And then one girl, and this will be my second
Another
girl.
girl,
So
so four
all
girls.
Yeah.
Do you see in your girls, in their eyes, in their experience, your choice of being an entrepreneur reflected in them?
I think for me, we talk about it, you look at the news, you get overwhelmed and very discouraged at times. And I just go back to raising kind, confident women. Confidence is what it is all about, and I'm so grateful for our parents who raised us to be confident young women that aren't intimidated and afraid. And I think that's what really gave us the gumption and courage to do this, was having such supportive parents.
Yes, that we had an idea, and I'm sure, again, none of it made sense when I first talked about it. If I had met myself then, I'd be like, that is
Okay, Colleen.
beautiful idea, but that's not going to work, But I think knowing how they talked to me, how my mom really just adored everything that we did, and made me feel so special. I can't wait for Cecilia and my second daughter to feel that way about whatever they want to pursue. And I think championing them in that way, I think, is going to be really special.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. And you brought up your mom, and I know your mom and dad, and your mom, I know you lost your mom not long ago.
Yeah.
And she was special. I remember coming to your shows, and she was just sort of a butterfly, just so proud of you all.
Yeah.
Tell me about the influence your mother had on your business and who you all are.
Yeah.
If you can talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much everything.
Yeah. She was our super fan. She was our champion. She was there for us through every hard moment. She was there packing orders in the beginning, matching colored tissue paper in our first few orders online. She was she was always there to help us in any pinch that we had. But ultimately, she was such a creative soul, and she went into nursing, which we always laughed about. We're like, why? You're so creative. So she definitely encouraged that side of us, encouraged us to explore these creative fields, and was just the absolute greatest.
I also think that she recruited most of Louisville and our customers in the beginning to come to all the events.
Fantastic. She always made me feel seen. Walking the
I know.
Always made me feel seen.
She was just fearless, where we were more anxious or nervous about what we were doing. She was there to kind of talk it up and be the first saleswoman really of our group. But she came to everything, and having that cheerleader, undeniable.
But as you said,
it happen.
You said she made you feel seen. That was her talent. She was just extraordinary.
Yeah. And your dad is very special.
He is.
Good business acumen.
Yes,
and I know
absolutely.
he's a huge
He was a
supporter.
big
He
part
talked
of
about you
helping
all
us
all the
get
time.
off the ground,
We
too.
were in that peer group together, and he talked about you all the time. So really special. For our listeners, tell us what you guys are envisioning next.
Yeah.
I think it's, we mentioned this just a second ago, but it has been nice to just take a breath at 15 years and know that we don't have to, when you're first starting, you're working all hours of the day into the evening. There's no boundaries. I think having clear boundaries feels really nice to us, and being able to have a work-life balance feels nice. We've partnered with everyone on my dream list at this point, pretty much. So that feels really special. But I think continuing to support the women that we do, make it a sustainable business. We are a nonprofit, but we are 95% funded through product sales. So donations, we don't even do grants anymore. So it is very much, that was a big goal, and to continue to move in that direction.
So if listeners want to help these women in India support the mission here in Louisville and make this continue to thrive and change lives, where do they visit?
Yeah, onchalproject.org. Or you can come down to our storefront in Shelby Park. But, I think sometimes the concept of you vote with your dollar feels silly to some people and not as concrete of a thing that you can do to make change. But the reality is every single purchase you make with Anchal makes a difference. We value and appreciate every coin purse, every pillow, every item that is sold. We are so eternally grateful for those customers because it allows us to continue to support these women. And I know, people are like, I don't know how to make a difference. I don't know how to stop mass consumerism or fight Shein and, these big Amazon storefronts. And so, choosing local is huge. Choosing artisan made is huge. Fair trade brands are in it. We're part of this community, and we're all fighting a really challenging fight right now in the global economy that we're in the expectation that everything should be extremely cheap and made fast. And our work it's art. They're masterpieces. And I think, choosing, second guessing, maybe just the next right step. Just try and make the next right purchase. You don't have to be perfect. We don't expect, we're not perfect, but just consider it the next time.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a good call to action. And it's a way of treating yourself, because I can tell you I have one of those sort of billowy jackets. It's big, got a nice big pocket, and it's just covered in stitches, and it's one of my treasured pieces. I wish I wore it today, but it's one of my treasured pieces. And when I put it on, every time I use it, every time I take out my zippered pouch for my laptop, every time I use your items, it touches me differently than something I might get from Amazon. So well done.
Thank you so much.
Lives well spent. We're rooting for you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you for this beautiful mission. And thanks for being here today.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.